ThaBoxingvoice.com here with the super lightweight unified champ of the world, Jessica Mccaskill. How you doing, champ?
I'm good. I'm excited for tomorrow. Just got done with weigh-ins and team meeting. We sat down and had a meal together and just kind of took a moment to relax. So I'm just ready to hit the switch and turn it on sometime in the locker room after getting my hands wrapped. That's when it just like starts going full speed.
So walk us through the next 20,
4 hours, yeah.
24, 25-ish hours for you. What's that like?
I haven't gotten a time of when I'm supposed to be at the arena yet, but most likely around 2-ish. So we will get our hair braided tonight, get it all nice, and just kind of wrap up a few things, make sure our bag's packed, make sure we have everything we need, make sure the team is on point, knowing where we're supposed to be, what times we're supposed to be there. Weigh-in is at, because I have titles, and these are title fights, I have to do a same-day weigh-in. So we'll weigh in at 9 a.m. and I cannot be in Illinois more than 10 pounds over what I weighed in at. I weighed in at 138.6 today, so I cannot be any more than 148.6 in the morning.
I was speaking to your coach and manager, Rick Ramos. That is a very odd rule. Now, the IBF had a similar where they'll do the same day weigh-ins, but it's 10 pounds over the weight limit. This is weight, yeah. Right. This is 10 pounds over what you weighed in at.
Yep. And that's only in Illinois, as far as I know.
Now, and that's only for title fights, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Any concern there at all having to make that weight?
No, I never really gained a whole lot of weight, so I might gain like maybe 4 pounds or so, something like that, and then that's probably going to be right before breakfast, so we'll go away and then we'll all have another team meeting.
Nice. Now, things at the weigh-in seem to get a little heated. Ms. Farías was pretty persistent about wanting to remain in your face, flexing her muscles. Any thoughts behind that?
No.
I was hoping for like a little push or something, but
it was comical is what it was. I mean, I feel like people do things to pump themselves up. Like, don't believe your own hype. That's how you get in trouble. But I just feel like, she's just pushing boundaries of what she thinks she sees other people do. I mean, she didn't do that the first fight, and so I guess maybe this is something to psych herself up, which is great. Psych yourself up. Let's have a good fight. These belts are staying in Chicago.
Any jitters knowing that the fight is where you first beat her and where you first became a world champion?
No, I went into that fight going to take the belt, the first time. So that was my mindset, and so the mindset is still the same: is to keep the belts and to dominate. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't think you can go into things having jitters or being scared or afraid to fight. If you're a fighter, that's what you do.
Now, I've been fortunate to be able to spend a few moments here with you guys after the weigh-in. Is it always like this to where the team is, it's more like a family? It seems like everybody, it's like a cousin, like environment, like
sure.
A lot of hee ha ha and just very laid back and chill.
It's funny because it's very laid back and chill, but at the same time we all talk about the observations of what we've seen that day, and so your team is working. Just from the different things that they say or the different things that they had to encounter. There were levels of things that happened outside of just with me and Summer or me and Rick or me and the commission that I didn't even have to worry about while I was there. So the team was being a team and deflecting and taking care of business so that I didn't have to engage in certain things, and so I could focus on my main thing. So we work hard together and then we have fun together.
Now, for you to be on this stage, talk to us about that role, because coming out of basically your boxing gym, and now you got stablemate Summer Lynn, and you have several amateur prospects coming out of there. Being in there every day, what do you feel has maybe done to the culture of the gym? Because you're a world champ, and like you say, you stay in the gym. Do you feel like things have changed at all? Maybe people looking up to you a little bit more than they used to before?
I definitely feel like my stablemates are competitive with everything that I do. I mean, the way that I work and the things that I do are so detailed in my mind to the point where, like, we have strength and conditioning in the morning and we do our warm ups without shoes, and then when we start our workout, we put shoes on. I don't even sit down and put my shoes on because I don't want to waste time, and I want everything to be, on point. And so I'm not going to sit and take the time to get comfortable and put on my shoes. We still have more work to do. So just little things like that. They're things that I do, and I think there's things that people notice and they try to compete, which is good because if we're all competing against each other, we're just pushing to make ourselves better. So I think it's brought more competition amongst ourselves to be the best that we can be.
Now, this is the second time that Matchroom has brought a show here to Chicago. Like, obviously, you aren't tied to Matchroom, but have been working alongside with them for your last few fights. Do you one day perhaps hope to headline here in Chicago? Has that crossed your mind at all?
That was a headline last time, right? Yeah, we headlined in last year, 2018, for that fight. That was a headline fight, and we are tied to Matchroom. We have a contract with them for fights. So I have a co-promotion, Matchroom and Warriors Boxing.
Nice. Now, tomorrow's all about you, but I am curious on a few fights.
Okay.
You want your thoughts on a few fights?
Okay.
First off, I want your thoughts on pound for pound in women's boxing. What are your thoughts on the state of pound for pound? Do you have somebody that's at the top?
I don't really keep track of what everybody's doing. I was there for the Serrano and Heather Hardy fight. I got a chance to see that live and in person. I've never seen those females fight before, and so I saw some things that I didn't think I would see. I thought Heather was gonna go down in the first or second round, and she kept with it and stood her ground and stayed in there for the whole fight. And then I got to see Serrano and move, and she's historically just known in the game of female boxing. So it was nice to be able to see that. And we've talked to Amanda's team, and we've talked about matching up down the road. So that's something that you could see in the future. Other than people that are really close to my weight, I haven't really kept a lot of tabs on people. So I think there are a lot more females coming up. I think that we're keeping female boxing alive because there's always that chance of what happened in the early 90s where it was big and there's big names and then it died off. So that's something that we're trying to avoid from happening, which is great that Summer Lynn is coming in, and she's going to start a whole new generation of boxing that's going to be after me.
Now, obviously, you are a champion at 140 right now, but what would you say is like your weight range, like the highest you'd go, the lowest you'd go? Because I know you fought Katie Taylor at 135, and word around was that you were close to sealing a deal with Cecilia Bráchez for her 147-pound undisputed titles. So what would you say your weight range would be as far as going up or down to make some fights happen?
That's something that we've talked about a couple of times, but more so further back. Is that you think those numbers are still the same?
I didn't hear what you said.
The numbers of the weight range that we would go.
What would she feel comfortable? Because I know she fought Katie at 135.
I fought amateurs at 141 and 154, mostly 141. My whole amateur career.
I'm comfortable. Like the Cecilia Bráchez fight was gonna be 143 plus 1, so I would do 143 plus 1 with Cecilia representing her 5 titles. So I'm comfortable right 144, 143, but not really much above that,
And then stay as low as 135.
No, I think at some point, if the situation is right, like Heather Harding at 130, that's a fight I would love. Serrano at 135, that's a great fight. Katie Taylor at 140, that's a great fight. Cecilia Bráchez 143 plus 1, maybe 142 plus 1, that's a great fight.
So you would, for Cecilia, for her undisputed titles, you wouldn't go the full 147?
No, why would we? I think Katie Taylor, Brian Peters told me to my face that they were talking about they're gonna do 140. Like 141. They're gonna do 141 for her belt. That's like we're giving her a couple extra pounds because you know what I mean. Like I think the Katie versus Cecilia Barakas fight it's not gonna be above 143. You know, I think that's kind of shady and weird, but what am I? Right?
So there's already like something in place for that fight.
No, I don't think anything's in place.
But
like,
there has been
talks. I mean, you know, because I think there's a lot of female fighters and female. There's a lot of female fighters who call me just to ask for advice, and you know they see Jessica's making decent money, and Jessica's not signed to no shitty contracts. Jessica's in complete control. I work for Jessica, but I guide Jessica to the best deals, and I think other fighters, I won't mention who, but there's other fighters and managers who call me and ask me for my opinion or my advice, and you know we talk, and there's deals out there that are unofficial. But, you know, other fighters talk. There's fighters that I've talked to personally who we would fight, you know, and it's nothing personal. We could fight somebody and like them. It's a money thing. It's a legacy thing. It's a, you know, fighting for greatness thing. Plus, it's a money thing. Don't forget, you know, we all want to make a living, but at the same time, we want to put on quality fights. We don't want to fight bums, you know.
So, I mean, obviously you were there ringside for the Serrano and Hardy fight. Mm-hmm. Yourself and your coach here just mentioned Serrano's name. Going into a matchup with Hall of Fame fighter, 7 division world champ, you know, do you really feel like it's those type of fights that really escalate you, put you on the next level?
I think those are the type of fights that put you on the next level. Maybe not as far as performance-wise. Like, that might not be something that I gain for performance type of experience, but when you put my name next to those names, that's something that really heights up your popularity or your credibility. You know, there's even with Katie, there were the holes in her game that we see all the time, and some of the same things that she does that she shouldn't do all the time. And so it's not like I go in there thinking, oh, I'm going to learn something today. It's more like, we see the holes in your game and we're going to execute to get, you know, through that, and our performance is going to be better than yours. That's kind of the mindset on the performance. But then when you match up Mccaskill Taylor, it's like, man, she fought Taylor, and Taylor has all these amateur fights and Olympics and whatnot. So it makes you more credible.
Yeah, and it keeps you up there. It definitely keeps you up there with the big names. You know, I think if we fight names that aren't so popular, I think then you stay in a financial bracket, right? Like, it's like at 147 pounds, if you're fighting guys who aren't big stars, I don't want to mention names, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but like, there's levels, right? So if I fight Jesse Vargas, there's a level, right? If I fight Terrence Crawford, there's a level. If I fight Spence, there's a level, right? So there's a money level to all those fights. So
absolutely. So
in the female market, we want to stay with the Serranos, we want to stay with the Katie Taylors and Cecilia Barakas, but we also want to be competitive, and I think that Jessica is a 50-50 chance with any of those fighters, you know? And that's no disrespect. Like I said, I love Serrano and her team. Cecilia Barakas, I like her. I respect her. Katie Taylor is, you know, as much as we want that rematch, whatever, I have to appreciate Katie because she gave us an opportunity. Even myself as a coach and a manager, like, we got the fight done. She gave us an opportunity. It's a fight that she didn't have to take. We were that was an all risk fight for her and really no reward. So, and we were smart enough, Jessica and myself were smart enough to build businesses off of that one fight. So when people say, oh, you know, they're living off the Katie fight, yeah, fucking right. We are, like, and we've built off of it. You know, I got Olympic trials. You know, I got an amateur making her pro debut. She's sleeping right now. She's sleeping, but that's all good. But, you know, we build a business off of it, and I think smart people build and foolish people fail. So, you know, we want to stay with the big names, long story short, and we're going to do our best to do that.
Now, speaking of the big names, I could be wrong, but I feel like Katie was the first big name that, you know, you guys faced in Jessica's career. And talk to us about the way you've been. I mean, that one fight has put you guys here as far as opportunities, right? Because came up short in that bout, but you guys were remembered so well to the point and put up a phenomenal performance at that, to where Eddie Hearn Matchroom wanted to do more business with you,
For sure.
set up the title opportunity back here in Chicago. You know, the title defense / unification earlier in the year in Maryland. Like, talk to us about that and how that one fight. I mean, because like you said, you're living off of it, but you're also growing from it because it has led to other opportunities.
Yeah, we're definitely building off of it is a better term. Building off of it, right? So, like, you can lose a fight and still be like, that loss could be a win. Like I always say, like the Fernando Vargas versus Felix Trinidad fight. Fernando Vargas lost that fight. Everybody saw it, but that catapulted Fernando Vargas' career, and like that loss was a massive win for him. Because if he would have beat Felix Trinidad, I don't know if he would have been great. Now I say this a lot, and if we would have beat Katie Taylor, we would have screwed up the female market. Nobody knew who Jessica was. Maybe Eddie Hearn wouldn't have put money into the female market anymore. He would have been like, I got this girl that nobody knows. You know, so for us, losing to Katie Taylor actually helped the market.
You saying that just reminded me, Nesta Gibbs, the owner of the Boxing Voice, was with Eddie. He was with Eddie at the AJ Ruiz press conference in New York, and Eddie told him, on camera says, that AJ losing to Ruiz was the best thing that could have happened for Dazn.
For sure.
And that's because now, you know,
Hispanic.
Not just that, you know, the fat Joe Schmoes like myself that, you know, like, he did it for us, right? He did it for us. But, no, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, if you're smart and you're creative and, you know, and if you see an opportunity, you could turn a loss into a win easy. And, again, I always say, like, the Katie Taylor loss was the best victory for us because, again, I can't stress enough. If Jessica would have beat Katie, like, there'd be no female market. I really don't, because Eddie would have said, you know what, maybe Katie isn't that good. Maybe the female boxing isn't nothing, and you know what, I don't want to put any more money into it, I'm out. And then where would female boxing be? The only reason why female boxing took off, I mean, besides Katie, was Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? And if we would have knocked out Katie, I don't know if he would have put money into Jessica at that time. I don't know. Maybe not.
What are both of your thoughts on Clarissa Shields? She came out, you know, 2-time gold medalist in the Olympics. She made her pro debut versus versus the current WBC super middleweight champion Franchon Cruz. Do you guys feel like she's helped the female market as well? I mean, televised fights and
I think
heading to now a third division title opportunity.
I think someone with her personality, with her vibe, you know, I don't think she gives out a positive vibe. I think she has a strong personality. God bless her. Like, hey, do your thing. But I don't think female boxing is ready for a personality like that. I think, you know, you can't talk about. I don't think you can talk about the things she talks about, like being the greatest, doing this, doing that, when the platform is weak still. You know, wait till there's a strong foundation, and then you can do whatever you want after that. So I think, I don't know if she's helped female boxing. She didn't hurt it, but she's not helped it as much as she could help it. Like, I feel like if she was a more positive person, and spread more joy and more positive vibes, I think she could catapult it to a new level. I think Katie is the one who put it on, like, moved up female boxing 2-3 notches. And I think Clarissa did a little bit, but not as much as she should have. Not as much as she could have. She has a tremendous platform. She has a tremendous amateur background, obviously, but she could do more still. I think, you know, with so much negativity around her and some of the things she says could be construed for people not wanting to tune in, maybe. You know, I think it's a 50-50 audience where people talk about Katie and they don't really see anything bad about her. You know, there's some things that people say, but she could do more with her platform for sure. Long story short.
I agree.
Now, could you perhaps say that here in America, that's almost the role you have to play, right? There's a famous interview that Dan Raphael, writer for ESPN, did about Floyd Mayweather. I want to say in like 98 or 99. I think actually at that time it was with USA Today, but he said that Floyd had two options coming out the Olympics. You know, be good looking kid, be that household name, for, and that's hero and the guy people look up to, but he chose to play the villain role.
Right.
But it's almost like in America, people pay to watch you lose, right? Like you have to have some sort of like I don't want to say negative image because that might sound bad, but there has to you have to give people a reason to talk about you.
Right. And I think I think the only reason why you got to remember, like at that time, Bob Arum had Oscar De La Hoya. So Floyd Mayweather was in Oscar De La Hoya's shadow. So Oscar De La Hoya was the good-looking, all-American dream slash, like superhero, right? So like I think Mayweather's only role at that time with that promotion, Top Rank, was his only play was to go villain.
Gotcha.
And he cashed in huge. The same way Oscar cashed in huge at that time in his era.
Right.
On the upside with the women and, being good looking and taking these mega fights. He went one way as high as he can go with his ability, with his, stardom. And Mayweather took the bad guy role and took it as high as he can go the other way. So they both found avenues and they both wrote them out and maxed them out, and that was a beautiful display of what you can do if you're paying attention. Oscar took advantage of his looks and his charisma and sponsorships and flew one way, and Floyd's like, well, I'm not going to be in the shadow. I'm going to put the only role and the only route I can go as a villain. So it was a genius move by Mayweather, and it was a genius move by Oscar, and they all three of them, Bob Arum, all three of those guys made a lot of money.
Champ. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't know if there's much of that in female boxing. I do think Katie is definitely the household name, and she's held high in regards, especially to people in Ireland and London. And I don't really know a lot about her. I don't see her out doing much, so I don't really know what their background is as to why they hold her in those regards. I would love to see her doing more. I would love to see her out more, and maybe that's just something that's not open to where I can see it. So,
right.
She doesn't make social mistakes. Katie Taylor does not make social mistakes. I think Clarissa has shown that she's not exactly. She doesn't have a publicist. She doesn't have someone watching over her social media and putting her in places that will make her look better. And I think Katie Taylor doesn't make social media mistakes, doesn't make social mistakes at all.
Right.
She just doesn't play the social game at all. And that's her play. Nothing wrong with it, it's just her play.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, really quick, I want to let you rest before your big fight tomorrow. Just wanted your thoughts on a few upcoming fights, and got a final question after that. But you got, let's see, which is the first one. We got Canelo Kovalev, November 2nd, so a few weeks away.
We talked about that in New York, yeah.
And that had just got announced. What are your thoughts now? They just dropped an article. A Boxing Scene just dropped an article yesterday where Canelo says that he plans to weigh in come in fight night at 175. What are your thoughts on the fight and him staying at the weight limit, not moving up too much?
I think it's smart when people know their body, and that could just be him knowing his body and knowing that he's not going to function the same way if he's moving up too much. There's consequences when people try to stuff their body. I mean, you think, here, eat heavy, and then you'll come in as the heavier person, but then can you still move like you're supposed to move and execute things that you're supposed to execute? And then again, with you being heavier, is that going to help you defend against heavier punches? That could be the upside to being a little bit bigger. And then, if you're not, then, are you going to take more damage because now this other person is much heavier than you are? So there's a lot of different things to look at, and what's going to be the actuality, we won't know. We'll have to see what happens. But I would say that would be the smarter play, to be where you're comfortable.
Do you think Canelo pulls that off and becomes a 4-division champion?
Yeah, I think he does pull it off. That's all I have for that.
I think this is my prediction, right? Not that anybody asked, but I think he's gonna use your gym to pull it off. Body shot.
Canelo.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Canelo,
I
you
get
use a
you.
body shot to pull it off.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if Kovalev lands some shots, we'll see if Canelo can really take a punch. But you're right. I do think, because he doesn't really have to punch high, he can just game for his body. And Canelo's quick, fast, quick reaction. So I do see Canelo pulling it out. But, I like to see Canelo buzz a little bit. Maybe floor it and get up and see what he got.
We haven't seen him hurt since he fought
Cotto.
Cotto's brother,
Yeah.
his brother.
Yeah, and that was in the second round. That was early in the fight.
Yeah, that reminds me of a Shane Mosley Floyd Mayweather type thing where Shane hurt Floyd in the first.
Was it first round or second round?
So Shane hurt Floyd in the first.
Round or second round?
I think it was the first.
Was it?
I could be wrong, but regardless, Floyd came back, dominated the fight, and that was the same thing with Canelo. But Wilder Ortiz, the rematch is happening. Ortiz was I think he had Wilder in the most danger out of any of his opponents. Definitely had him hurt the most. Many would say he was saved by the bell, but what are your thoughts, big heavyweights?
I say Ortiz because
Wow.
Wilder does not do anything for me. When he goes in there, he looks for big shots, big overhand looping shots, and kind of one at a time, and that's how he plays it. And I don't think that's a good strategy. I mean, he gets those knockouts. I think maybe a lot of those knockouts come from fear. Or just people just like, oh my God, here it comes in deer in headlights kind of a thing. But like, you should be able to see that coming a mile away. So I don't know. I don't think he puts in enough of the right amount of work to be successful going forward. We're seeing these Andy Ruiz is coming up, and we're seeing just like different styles. We're seeing bigger guys move, quick punches move. More of a smaller fighter style. So I don't think that's gonna last very long.
Speaking of Andy Ruiz, December 7th in Saudi. I'm hearing they may turn you around, put you on the
Let's go.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's go. Give me a camel ride to the fights, bro.
You say your passport's ready, but how do you see that AJ Ruiz play out?
I would love to see Ruiz do it again. I'm really anxious to see what kind of fighter AJ comes out with. I mean, we see all these pictures and videos of him being leaner and more cut, but I don't know what the truth of that, So weigh-ins and things like that. That's kind of when we'll start to get
truly
know.
Yeah, we'll know what we think about the fight closer.
Yeah, I think what's his name? I think AJ's thinning out a lot, maybe too much. But I definitely think that style of the old sluggish heavyweights, that's gone. I think you're gonna see a lot more heavyweights with agility and movement. Yeah, I mean, I think the George Foreman style, slug it out. I think that's over, and I think you're gonna see faster, bigger guys who are with more agility in the heavyweight divisions.
He's just heard today. He actually has Derek Chisora coming up to train with him in Sheffield. So Chisora's fighting David Price and David Price. So should be similar work to what he's getting in Ruiz. Now, last but not least, I was curious, what is your goal? I mean, because this in the nicest way, but you are not you're already a professional, you're already a world champ. What is your ultimate goal before retiring?
I wanna fight the big names, and I wanna get all the belts. I mean, that's a goal for the company as a whole. From Eddie's mouth, unify the division. So I would like to accomplish that goal, and I would like to test myself against Cecilia Baracus and Amanda Serrano and those big names. And I feel like there will be more goals that come, further that we get into fights and things like that. So being number one in the world is great, but there's more. There's always more.
So what are your thoughts on Katie moving up to 140? Because if you want to become undisputed, that means that you will have to go through her. Should she come out successful, of course. But what are your thoughts on that? Because it was really weird. I think she had a really rough night on June the 1st defending her belts. And they ordered an immediate rematch, and she chooses to move up in weight. Yeah. To, kind of weird tactics, in my opinion, but want your thoughts?
I think it's great that she's moving up to 140 because then that means we will get that rematch, and hopefully sooner the better. 2020, we're looking forward. Again, just making my way through the belt. I was hoping we would get the IBF on this card, and it didn't work out. So we'll see. Maybe another great fighter, Esteche, fight her for IBF, and then Katie for WBO, and put it all under the ring, and then move on to that next goal.
You know, here in the city, there's the United Center, and there's a statue of Jordan outside. Maybe we could get that with you at the Wintrust.
Yeah, put me in the Wintrust just like that.
Thank you very much, champ, for your time.
Thank you.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.